Okay, and we are live.
All right. What it is, y'all. Special edition of Truth Be Told. PMG Radio, No Mercy TV, talking everything. George Floyd, rioting, looting, protesting, everything. We're gonna go through it all.
Mm-hmm.
Got a great panel of people here. I have a deep respect for everybody that's on this panel. That's why I got them all here. I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves. Let's start with No Mercy, Myrtle.
Hi, it's Myrtle, Ernest Reed.
No Mercy, Trap New York, blogger, league owner, husband, a whole bunch of different stuff.
That's what it is, Zoe.
I don't even know what to say anymore because of my. I don't even know what to say anymore because of my past.
Zoe has a lot of businesses. Behind the scenes, he's done a lot for a lot of careers in music. Talk your shit, man.
I really never really talk like that, but I'm the late Fred the Godson's old manager and close friend, and owner and part owner of Blockwork. That's all I can say at this point.
And a lot of people don't know he's being very humble right now. Blockwork, a lot of artists have come through Blockwork. Smack has filmed battles at Blockwork. Corey Guns, Fred the God, Charlie Clips, you name them, they've all been to Blockwork to record. So, you know what I mean?
It's a lot more, but I'll be humble.
Right,
And he said he was being humble.
Go ahead, Renee.
Hi everybody. My name is Renee, and formerly I used to do a lot of entertainment, PR. The game changed, so I changed and I went, elsewhere. I currently actually work in technology, but I also have a cosmetic line that I started about going on a year ago now. So that's me.
Okay. That's what's up. And Keita, go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm Keita. I'm from Long Island. Like Renee, I used to be in the industry and I went another way. Currently working in the healthcare industry and a momager of 3 young men, and a blogger.
That's it. Okay, so everybody here got turned off by the industry, basically, huh?
Absolutely. I didn't say where I was from. I didn't say I was from the X. I didn't say I was from the Bronx. I got to rep that too. My bad.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it. All right, so I want to start. I want to start here. First question I want to ask everybody is, how many times have you watched? Oh, before I even do, I'm sorry. We're talking everything George Floyd once again. All right, so how many times have you watched the video of his murder? Let's start with Zoe. How many times have you seen that video?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen that video one time. I refuse to watch the video because I've heard too much about it for me to actually have to see it, because the words that I get from the people are my visual. So for me to actually have to go physically see it, I refuse to see it. I refuse to watch it.
Got you. What about you, Renee? How many times have you seen the video?
Honestly, I want to say I saw it about twice. After the first clip I saw was what everybody saw at first. The officer just had him on the floor with his knee in his neck. And then the second clip was when they showed the officers having him already in the car, and while he's in the car, they're beating on him. So that's all I saw. That's all I needed to see. Is honestly, it's just too much.
All right. Quick, Mercy, on in your captioning in the live right now, can you change it to talking? So change it to talking, rioting, looting, and everything George Floyd, so people have a specific like what we're talking about right now.
I got you.
Okay. Keita, how many times have you seen the video?
I have seen the video 0 times. I refuse to watch the video. The social media told enough. They painted this horrific picture in my mind where I refuse to watch it.
Got you. What about you, Myrtle? How many times have you seen it?
I saw the initial, someone had put a 30-second clip of it where, he was just saying, I can't breathe. And then I went back and I looked for it and I saw the entire 10-minute video, the altercation and everything. I saw that. And then I saw the other viewpoints from other people throughout in the area. the pictures, and also the other videos that were taken from like the different stores and all that.
Got you. What about you, Mercy?
Man, I just seen the few seconds of the officer with his knee on his neck. I know it was part of like an 8-minute video, but I wasn't watching that whole video, man. I really need to see nothing else from it.
Got you. I personally can only stomach it once and change, and the amount of anger that kept wallowing over me every second that went by as that ex-officer had his knee on that black man's neck on the ground as he's screaming for mercy and pain. It just was too much to me to the point where I was almost in tears, and I'm far from emotional. But that definitely almost brought me to tears to see that. So I could not watch the whole thing, and I haven't gone back to watch it since. You know what I mean? So you said you didn't watch the video, but just hearing about it, what was the first thing you thought?
Man, when is enough? That's what that was my thought. When is enough? They continue to do this to us, and I say us, not saying black people. I say us as a people. Period. Mm-hmm. When do we get tired? And I didn't realize, because I'm like you, what you just finished saying. I'm not emotional whatsoever. Like I don't cry. I don't go to funerals, and I do not cry. And I've been taught by my dad, and it's completely wrong, but I've been taught that men don't cry. Well, my dad cried all day. You know what I mean? And my brother cried every single day. But for me, it was, when is enough? And I didn't realize that me saying that subconsciously, that this looting and the rioting and the violence will actually take place. And I'm not one for the violence, but I'm one for the violence. So I don't know if I can make that any clearer. Like I don't promote it, but I definitely stand for it.
Right. I mean, you're gonna stand tall as a man.
Absolutely, because at what point in time do we get tired enough to sit there and say, damn, we keep getting punched in the face. Damn, if you back anything into a corner long enough, they're going to attack. And right now, we're at a point where people are actually attacking. And it's not the fact of the looting. All this stuff serves a purpose that people fail to realize. It's not the fact that people are looting. We got to make light of what's going on in regards to how we move forward from here. It's not what's being done. It's how we present it. So people are sitting there saying, oh, white people are looting and others are looting and others are burning and others are actually becoming violent. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do to actually say, yeah, they are, but it's all for a reason. It's all for a cause. That's why I stand with it at this point.
We gonna get into the we definitely gonna get into. Trust me, we gonna touch it all right. Tonight,
I know that. I know how you give it up. So I know that's a fact.
Renee, what was your initial thoughts when you first saw and heard about this?
Honestly, at this point, I wasn't surprised because I felt like every week we were creating a new hashtag. Every single week. So I feel like it wouldn't have. Overall, I'll just say I really wasn't surprised. Am I surprised how people are handling it? Of course not. People are fed up. They're like, fuck this shit. How many Black African American men and female are gonna die at the hands of the police? How many peaceful protests are we gonna have? I forgot exactly what age I was, but I remember when Sean Bell got gunned down. I was actually marching with my mother. I remember I was in middle school. I just don't remember like the exact age. I remember marching down Fifth Avenue, protesting peacefully for that. And this is 10 plus years later. How many people have died after Sean Bell with all of these peaceful protests? They're not doing anything about it. It's not until people started looting and breaking into stores and taking things where you're actually getting big corporations to say, yo, this is wrong. Black lives do matter. Not you know, trying to generalize something and saying all lives, because at the end of the day, we all know all lives matter. But at this point in particular, Black lives matter, because it seems like, you know, with everything going on, that people forget that our lives don't actually matter.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So do I care? Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't care if they burn the shit down, because if that's what I was surprised. I'm sorry, because I know today I was.
All right, hold on, Renee. We're gonna get there. Hold on, Renee. Hold on, girl. We're gonna get there. Hold on. Keita, you got 2 sons.
3.
You got 3 sons. So you raising 3 Black boys. So what was your thoughts when you heard about this?
Like Renee said, I wasn't surprised. However, I'm myself as a Black mom, I'm fed up, I'm pissed. I'm already at night paranoid with my sons. Here I have one 24, one that's 19, where I'm constantly like, I can't sleep at night sometimes when I know they're outside. And I don't want to be that type of parent where I'm like on them like that, where, you know, they think that I'm making, you know, babying them. But it's because of the country we live in, the world, the way the world is now. You have to worry about your young Black men, your older Black men, your young Black women, your older Black women. You have to worry about them, because this could be any of our children, any of our friends, any of our brothers, any of our sisters. And it's just constantly happening, and nothing is being done. And am I pissed about the protesting? No, not at all.
We got Ari.
Yeah, burn the shit down.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Ari.
Hey.
And why I say,
Marcia, Ari just joined us?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the problem is, I don't condone the looting and breaking and tearing shit up. However, they hear us, but they're not listening to us. They hear our frustration, but they're not listening. So if we have to make a loud noise, we gotta violate.
All right, hold on. We're gonna get to the looting. Hold on. God damn, hold on. We're gonna get to the looting. Hold on.
All right, Peso.
Give us a minute. Hold on. Let it build up. Let the beat build. Hold on.
So
everybody want to get to the looting. God damn, hold on.
Everybody anxious.
The message, no, it wasn't about that. It's just that it's a message that has to be brought to the world, to our president. Well, somebody's president, because he's not mine. A message that has to be brought to the jurisdiction, to all these people in jurisdiction, to the police. A message like, we're not with the shits no more. Like, we're not with your bullshit, but we with the shits. But we not with your bullshit. So if we have to be with the shits for you to understand what the fuck is going on, then we gotta do what we gotta do. Like he said, remember in I don't know which Martin it was, one of the stand-ups. Martin Luther King said nonviolent. Malcolm X said by any means necessary. We done did nonviolent. How many times have we did it? Now it's by any means fucking necessary. And if you gotta set shit off, then you gotta set shit off. I'm not mad at it. I'm frustrated.
That's what it is. Let me ask Marcel and Mercy, as a married couple who one day will have children, and I'm pretty sure y'all kid is gonna be Black as shit based off of y'all skin complexion. What was y'all
Peso?
I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
He the darkest one on here.
Fact.
I'm not the Black nigga on here right now. That's what I mean. But let's leave that for another time. What was y'all thoughts though when y'all first heard about this as a married couple, as a married Black couple in America? What was y'all thinking?
Well, I know for me, I feel like I've become so conditioned to seeing that it's like, okay, another one. That's what went through my head. was like another one. And then when I actually saw the video, I said, there's no way you can't tell me that this is not a murder that happened. He's screaming for his life. He's calling, he's invoking the spirit of his dead mother. That just really was an emotional moment, just watching that video. And like speaking on him, his skin color, seeing that white police officer. And what was really disrespectful about that is not only are you killing this man, but you're doing it in such a disrespectful way. You're putting your hand in your pocket. The hand in the pocket is what really got to me. I was like, I'm just gonna be mad cool killing one of your brothers right now.
Yeah. For me, it was just like, damn, again. Like we just went through the Ahmaud Arbery thing. What was this? Like maybe 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, and then now it's happening again. And it's just like, when does it stop? Like it's a pandemic going on. There's no reason that Black men should be losing their lives, especially during this time when it's already hard enough for us as it is. Like they're saying that Black people are the people who are mostly losing their lives during this time. So now we have, aside from COVID, now we also once again have police doing the same thing.
We got Ari who just came on with us. So and Renee's clicking on from her computer, but Ari just came on. Ari, you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
All right. So Ari, you have a son, right?
Yes, I have a son.
So you're, how old is your son?
He's 3.
So you're raising a young Black man in this world. What were your thoughts when you first heard about George Floyd?
First of all, I was sick to my stomach. Like to see, like I witnessed racism firsthand. I've been around like arresting officers talking to Black men like a piece of crap. But to just see that man, it was just like a human thing. Any human could be who can sit there and watch something like that? Who can sit up there and put their knee? Who are you to even put your knee on somebody's neck and in their life? Beyond me. That's beyond God. Like, I understand they give any Black man the death sentence for something like that. Why not kill him and just, I feel like if they killed him, all the riots and the looting would stop. That's just it. I'm like, I feel like there should be no mercy shown to him. Who is he? All this foolishness behind that. And then as far as the riot and looting, I feel like the looting is something totally different.
Hold on. We're going to get to the looting. God damn. We're going to get to the looting. Hold on, yo.
Yo, my bad. I know I set the precedence. I apologize.
All right. Real quick, when I first saw it, and it was crazy too, because it was like, that was literally the first thing I woke up to. Like, literally, I woke up to a text message, Pixel, you got to see this. I clicked on the video. And you know what it was for me? I thought I had seen it all with Eric Garner. I thought I had literally seen it all. And it was like, God, then we're watching Eric Garner all over again. Yeah, we're watching it again. That was the crazy part for me, to see something that I thought I would never see again all over again.
I didn't even watch his.
Crazy. Great. All right, so boom. So we then see Minneapolis goes into an uproar. And I do want to say this real quick. Shout out to the mayor of Minneapolis and shout out to the police chief of Minneapolis, because they did the right thing. They fired those cops immediately. No send home with paid leave, immediately fired, because what they saw was wrong. So we got to salute them for that. They did the right thing.
Yep.
There's no way you can watch that and say that's within any means of police training or street patrol that you can ever see from any cop. There's no way you are taught as a police officer to do that. As a cop, one of the first things you are taught is to preserve life. And
Right.
You're taught as a police officer. So there's no way you can watch that and say they did the right thing. You understand what I'm saying? So salute to them for doing that, yo. We then see what goes on in Minneapolis. As Minneapolis starts to, we watch, I don't know if y'all remember Freddie Gray?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That was in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we watched with Baltimore with bad shit crazy for Freddie Gray. You understand what I'm saying? So we then start to see that again. So as you're starting to see what's going on in Minneapolis, what do you think?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was changing my name.
Yeah, no, you good. I said, as you're starting to see like what's starting to happen in Minneapolis in terms of the protests, the unrest, the people starting to burn buildings down. What were some of your thoughts?
Oh, I never thought nothing bad about it. Not from the jump. As soon as I seen it, because like I said before, like you know what it is to be in a car and get emotional and get ready to shed a tear, then you realize why you're shedding a tear, then your tear turns into anger. So that's what happened to me. Me seeing that, me seeing the buildings burning, me seeing these police cars burning up, I was like, finally. And the craziest thing is it's not happening. You know, I'm gonna save that because I'm gonna say something and I don't want to go too far and set a precedence all over again. So I'm gonna wait. But that's what I really thought. I was like, good, finally.
Okay.
So when I got those calls, it was like, so what? It's time.
It is what it is, right? Yup, it is what it is. Keita, what was you thinking when you seen how shit was going crazy in Minneapolis?
I was like, it's about damn time. It's about time that people make another noise so that they can understand what we're feeling. And they need to feel how we feel every time we're watching the news, seeing one of our people get killed for no reason. They need to feel our pain. They need to feel our pain. It's not right. See, they're bringing these police in, and racism is taught. Nobody's born like that. And these police officers are going into this law enforcement with already hate in their heart to do things to us. And that's how I feel. Not all of them. Not all. But a majority of them are getting into this law enforcement to hurt people.
I'm glad you went there though. How do we separate? Like let me get to Renee on that one. How do we separate?
You know what? Can I cut you off? Because I heard something. Let me cut you off real fast because I heard something today, and I want you guys to really, really sit with this. Now, everyone's heard this before. One bad apple can ruin a bunch.
That's how it goes.
Yes, it can.
And but listen to this. This is the second part that no one really pays no mind to. If you take a good apple and put it in the bag with bad apples around it, no one's gonna buy the bad bag. And that's what I want people to understand.
And that's right.
And it's not the police, it's not the individuals. It's how they were trained, it's how they were taught because the system is corrupt. So that's why there is like we can sit there and say the good cop, the bad cop, but the system is corrupt. So they're being trained in a corrupt manner.
And so that's what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. They're being taught to do harm. Now that doesn't mean a good cop is teaching them that. It could be someone already in the system that they were trained to do that, and they're teaching this next officer, this next rookie cop, to do this harm to us.
But listen. This is what paints a perfect picture of what Zoe just said. Because the fact of the matter is, if you got one cop doing wrong, the fact of the matter is, even in the George Floyd incident, that you got 3 other cops watching him do wrong is what makes them all bad.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why we cannot distinguish the good from the bad cops. We're not fighting. It don't matter what color you are when you become a cop, whether you're black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever you are. We're protesting injustice. We're not protesting.
But so let me say this:
most cops are white. That's just what it is. Most cops, by fact, are white. You know what I mean? It just so happens to be that way. But whether
now, let me say this.
Hold on. Can we all agree on that? Is a cop a cop?
Absolutely.
Black or white, is a cop a cop?
Cop's a cop.
Yep.
So now, to my understanding, there was an Asian cop there too, correct? Because I told you I didn't watch the video. So now this is my problem. That Asian cop may have been one of the best cops. Sat there, watched it, and then say, "Yo, enough." At that very moment, that second, third, fourth fucking cop
Mm-hmm.
Fucking cops. Bad fucking cops. I don't give a fuck who they were, PTA dad. That moment, they became bad cops. They all need to go down.
But let us also know that Asian cop that was there was his brother-in-law.
Okay.
I heard that was his brother-in-law.
So let that be known that was his brother-in-law. So now I can understand why he didn't jump in.
Let me ask this to everybody. Let me start with Renee. Have you ever had a good experience with a cop?
Honestly, for the most part, I'll say this. My experience with cops are some are good and some aren't. My stepmother is a police officer and her whole family is a line of cops, and they stand for the injustice all the time, and she's always talking to me about, how cops are, when she was in the service, because she actually retired. She was a first responder during 9/11, so she retired, but she definitely told me, certain situations, how to go about handling certain situations when it does come to police officers. Bad situations, I would definitely say I run into more bad situations with cops than good. For instance, I live in a neighborhood that I worked hard as hell to live in, and I'm constantly getting followed. I'm constantly getting pulled over for no apparent reason, known to man. And it really sucks. And I would honestly say it hurts me, and it also gets me shaken up. For instance, I remember one day I was driving to Stop and Shop, and a police officer pulled me over and had the nerve to tell me that my brake lights wasn't working. It baffled me because I'm like, I just changed my whole car, new lights, LED lights on my car. So how are you going to tell me that it's not working? And LED lights are very potent, okay? So you can't tell me that my lights aren't working.
Oh, listen, we've all been hit with the brake lights.
Absolutely.
I was baffled. I was just like, are you serious? And he wanted to see my license and my registration, and he damn near told me to get out the car until he noticed that I had on a collared shirt. So in his head, he was probably thinking.
What he really wanted to see if you had a reason to belong in that neighborhood. That's what he really wanted to see.
I was baffled, okay, and it scared me at the same time because I'm like, this is broad daylight. A police officer is pulling me over and telling me that my taillights is pulled out, and when I know they're not. So I'm like, what's the next step after this?
What about you, Ari? Have you had any good run-ins with police officers?
Yes, the most worst I had. First of all, I was in a police academy, but I didn't go through with it. I couldn't. I knew I didn't be a cop. I probably wouldn't have been in the projects, but at least I'm not a cop. I can say that. So I was in Brownsville, New York, one of the worst neighborhoods there is in America. That's the gutter for real. So I was in Brownsville, New York, and I got into it with the owner of a store. He was just being real unjust. Like, I hate injustice. He was just being real unjust to me. Something happened. Listen, the situation was dumb. However, he got upset because I'm real savvy with the words, and he didn't like what I was saying. He called the cops on me, and he explained to the cops that I was a black female. Mind you, he was a black male. He called the cops to the Dollar General, and they came to the Dollar General, and they had guns drawn at me. They pulled it like they was like, put your hands up. Like, what? Are you serious? If I was the reason why we had the argument was, it was a legitimate reason for me. Even the cop who came, he was like, oh, well, did you get the soap? It was about Dove soap. He asked me, he was like, well, at least you got the soap. But that was after they already came and pulled guns out on me. And it was a black female. She was so pretty. Like, what would make you? Well, like, she was, pretty, like, she was so ethnic. Like, she looked just like me. She was a black sister. She was somebody, like, why would you defend this? Like, why are you standing behind this person pulling a gun? It was no reason for them to have a gun. They just put out a gun because they were in Brownsville. I was a black female. They got the car. They came to the scenes. What guns draw? I didn't have a gun. I didn't even have a knife. I don't even carry weapons. Why are y'all pulling guns out on me? Why? And then
I got you. So you definitely haven't had good experiences with the police.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not a good experience. That's definitely not a good one.
It's not a good experience. Let me and I'm gonna say the reason why I asked that question because I think America has this false narrative that Black people just don't like the cops, and I want to get experiences from a group of Black people as to why or why not that's true. So, Zoe, what have your experiences been with police? I mean, don't indict yourself, but
No. I'm gonna give you. Well, my past is my past. So I'm gonna give you my past. I was trying to put my hat on because I wanted y'all to know that my soul is definitely not for sale. But the light is no good, so I'm not gonna do that to myself.
Because Zoe is a certified street nigga, so we trying to tread lightly.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
No. I was. This is my past life.
You are. Don't do
but
that.
I definitely have. No. I'll give you my good experience first. My good experience was. Now I don't know if this is good or bad, but I remember one of my young boys at the time had went down the block and broke the chicken spot window.
Mm-hmm.
So when he did that, I wound up going down to the chicken spot because I knew the owner, and I said, John, I apologize. I'm gonna make sure my young boy pays for it. So in the process of that taking place, 3 officers came into the restaurant because my man called them. The owner of the chicken spot wound up calling them. Mm-hmm. So they came in there, was like, is everything okay in here? I see the windows and the glass is broken. And the owner said, no, it's okay. And I was like, no, I know who did it. And they was like, well, who did it? And I was like, no, I'm taking care of it. They was like, you taking care of it? Who are you? And then one of the older officers came in and seen me and said, oh, shucks, twin, what's going on? You got it? And I said, yeah, I got it. He was like, all right, let's leave. And they was like, what you mean, let's leave? Nah, he's just a person in here. He might be the one that broke it. And he's like, nah. If the twin said he got it, which is
right,
I'm a twin.
Because the older officer recognized you as a fixture from the neighborhood.
The older officer realized he knows who I am, and
right.
He was like, you know what? If the twin, because we used to police our neighborhood, that's how I was when I was growing up, especially when I was out there in them streets. So he was like, nah, if the twin said he got it, we out of here, and they walked away. So that was my good experience. Bad experiences. Again, it results. No, I have a bad experience. And that was me being in Fort Lee, New Jersey at 11 o'clock at night. Me leaving the Cheesecake Factory, driving and realizing I wanted to see the same girl I just left. So I I stopped in Fort Lee, I called her and said, hey, meet me over here. So I'm literally by a Chase Bank and I'm parked in the driveway. If you know, everything at Fort Lee closes at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
so it's 7 o'clock, so you can park anywhere. So there's a lot of parking, but I just so have to park in the driveway, not realizing it was the driveway. Police officer pulled up on me and says, hey, you parked in the driveway? I said, oh, yes. He said, what are you doing over here? I said, oh, no, I'm just waiting for my girlfriend to come meet me over here at this time because, I just left her at the Cheesecake Factory, so I just want to see her again before, she takes it in for the night. So I pulled over here to make the phone call, opposed to me driving, talking on the phone. He says, all right, can you do me a big favor? I said, sure. He said, just move up into the parking space. I said, all right, no problem. I moved up into the parking space. He turned on his lights. 7 other cop cars came and was willing to, and asked, can they search my vehicle? And basically harassed me all because I didn't move 5 feet in front of me.
That's crazy. So crazy.
That was my bad experience.
Keita, as a black woman who has 3 sons, what do you tell your sons if they have run-ins with the police? How do you tell them to act?
I tell them to stay as calm as possible. Don't talk back to them. Just listen. You driving, have your hands on the steering wheel. Like how we all are taught. Of course, I got one. You know which one I'm talking about, Hus. That's the one that he's not with it. He's gonna give you the mouth. He's the one that's gonna give you the mouth. And I had 2 run-ins with him with the police, which neither one of them were his fault. And I think it was his senior year of high school. They just won the championship. So he said, can he go to Atlantic Beach, a white neighborhood, for a party? Now, most of the team is, combination, Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, it's mixed, from Afghanistan or whatever. And he went to a party And at the party, the police came and broke it up. You know, they probably got a call after 11 o'clock. The noise is too loud. So they told everybody, party's over, everybody leave. So my son and them were walking. So they went to walk to like the corner so they can call a cab to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And the police came up to him and one of his friends and just started going off. And he was like, can you guys come here? And my son was like, why?
Right.
To go home, so that's what we doing. And he was like, no, you need to come here. So my son was like, I'm not going nowhere. He was like, I know my rights. I'm not going nowhere. I'm standing right here. I'm waiting for my cab to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So grabbed my son up,
Mm-hmm.
took off his coat, freeze outside. I get a call. I want to say by then it was like 1:30, almost 2 in the morning. My come pick me up. The police left me outside in the cold and they gave me a ticket. A ticket? I'm like, hold on. So I just had my youngest son. So I'm like, oh boy. So I got to run out. And my ex, we ran out to go get, to go over the bridge. It's like 10 minutes from here where I live. Like maybe 7 to 10 minutes. We go there, we see him, he's sitting on a curb in a t-shirt, no coat, freezing, shaking. Mind you, my son is a chronic asthmatic, coughing like crazy because they took his coat. In his coat was his money, so he couldn't even get the cab. He never even got the call, he never even got to get the cab. So what I did was, I said, when we got home, I said, we getting up in the morning, we going to the precinct. You got the officers' names? Because my son is very smart, so he got their badge names. I said, we're going to the precinct. I got up, took him to the precinct. We filing a, who you want to file a complaint on? And I told him the officers' names. We filing a complaint. His coat is missing. His money is missing. So you got officers in here that's stealing.
Wow.
Giving minors tickets because they're trying to leave a party to get home.
Yeah, and I think
so that ain't nothing. So we had to go to court.
Cops are like,
I'm very smart. So, and I used to, before my mom passed away, I was actually in school for paralegal studies. So I told my son, after we found that, we're going to go get a lawyer. Oh, it's just a ticket. I said, I don't care. We're getting a lawyer because we're not playing these games with these cops. So letter up, I got reference letters for two institutions. I wrote a letter and I broke down in detail, coat stolen, money stolen. This is what the officers did. He said nothing to him, got witnesses from the kids that was with him. We get to court. The day before court, we get a phone call from the kid that had the party. His coat was found. They threw it on the porch.
Oh, wow.
His coat back on the porch.
Wow.
And they still kept his money. The court, we go pick up the coat, take a picture of the coat being back on the porch, go print it out, go to court the next day. The police, of course, they never show up. Wrote all these letters and everything and complaint, and it's right out in the garbage.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that?
That was one with me.
When I caught my second gun charge, actually I got 2 gun charges, but when I caught my second gun charge,
damn,
they ran me for about $2,000 in my pocket and told me that they don't know where it's at.
Yep.
God damn.
They be like, yo, we don't know where that shit at. You know what I mean? Like, but Mercy, coming from Colonial Projects, what was your dealings with the police?
Okay, so I got 2 specific experiences to talk about. So one was a time where we got illegally searched by the police. We was up on 135th, up there by City College. It was me, my man, and my man's homegirl that he was messing with at the time. And we were just up there just chilling. Like, we were just up there walking around. I believe we was coming home from school. And we was like playing around, like it was snowing. We had like a snowball fight, whatever. And the police just pull up on us. It's like 3 of them. And they tell us just get against the wall. And we like, yo, for what? So they start kind of strong arming us a bit. So we start resisting a little bit until our homegirl tell us, yo, just chill out, relax. I don't want nothing to happen to y'all. Just do what they say. So we calmed down. We got up against the wall, and they searched us. Luckily, we ain't have nothing on us, but they let us go, and they was talking about, oh, it was people getting raped up here, something like that. I'm like, bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? So they let us go, and the whole time I'm walking down the street, I'm just turning back, cursing them out, telling them all sorts of SMDs and shut the fuck up and stuff like that. And he was yelling back like, yeah, I should take y'all in and stuff like that. I'm like, you can't do nothing. Like, you don't got nothing on us. So, you know, y'all sitting up here harassing us. And the other situation I'll speak on is the time I got caught hopping the train. I was 16. I was coming from the crib of, you know, the same homegirl. And I went to go get on the train at 125th. So the train had actually just left, but I thought it would still be down there when I got down there. So I walked through the door. So when I get down, the train is pulling off. So I'm like, damn. So trying to start walking to the other end of the platform, I just feel a big hand on my shoulder that says, come with me. So when I turn around, it's a police officer, it's a black police officer. So they take me upstairs. I didn't have ID on me. So I wound up having to go to the precinct. Now, the interesting thing about me being in the precinct was, you know, off the illegal search incident, I have this negative thing in my head about police where I'm just like, yo, these guys are bad. Like, I don't rock with them. Like, you know, that's just what it is. And he actually bought Chinese food for me twice throughout that night. You know, because
so Mercy, is this a good or a bad situation?
It's like a bowl.
What
Sounds like a good one.
I feel like the search was the fault of the police. So that is what I say is the bad situation. But when I got caught, you know, hopping the turnstile, whatever, you know, just the fact that the dude was making sure that I ate, it kind of balanced it out. It's like, okay, some of these cops are actually good because he was a black cop.
Right.
He understood that I was young. I just got caught up in a, you know, bad situation. And, you know, so those were the main two situations that really made me, you know, really look at cops a certain way.
So let me ask everybody this: what in a certain light, what makes all cops bad?
Well, for me,
The system.
For me, whenever I was thinking about that question, and I got my answer when I watched a report with CNN yesterday with the police chief in Minneapolis. He said it's when there's silence. When you're silent, then you become complacent in the bullshit that happens.
That's a fact.
When you are,
your silence speaks volumes.
So I feel that, okay, you are a black cop. How are you using your blackness to help us out? Because you're supposed to be our inside man when shit go left. You're supposed to be able to explain our plight to your comrades who don't know what we go through on a daily basis.
Who
Exactly.
Who here feels like they go harder on black cops than white cops?
In regards to what?
They probably
in terms of the standards you hold them up to, in terms of dealing with black communities.
I do. I definitely do. Because I
want everybody to be honest. Who holds black cops to a higher standard?
Yeah, I can definitely say I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I expect them to understand us.
Yep. You should be able to.
I feel like anybody who wants to, like, the cops are a gang. So for you to even want that job title in the first place, you looking for a sense of belonging. And people who looking for a sense of belonging, they're going to do anything just to fit in. They don't want to lose their job, how they feed their kids. For us, white or black, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be a cop in the first place.
It's true.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Because of my size, and you know I do security and everything. A lot of people have asked me, "Yo, why don't you become a cop?" You know, I do have a clean record. I have, you know, the college credits, but I can't I just can't. Like, it's such a corrupt system that even for probably better pay, pension and stuff like that, I can't.
I've been asked the same thing, and I have family. I have a niece that's a police officer, and my brother and my sister are both retired from corrections. But of course, they were, But I personally, I'm me. Like, I don't want to even be put in a position where I have to choose, where I might feel that I might have to do my own people dirty, or anybody, any civilian dirty.
And
So
I also,
that's not me. Like, I'm a real ass person. I'm a real ass person, and I choose to stay that way.
I also feel that with being a cop, I know for me, I would have an existential crisis every day, especially if I see one of my fellow officers doing something. So now I see my officers doing something. I see my colleagues doing something, and I must decide whether or not I'm going to call them out on it. And the next drug bust that we have to do, are they going to have my back when the drug dealers are coming for me? Because now
there you go.
The blue wall is going to come up, and next thing you know, I'm ousted, and nobody has my back. It could be a shootout,
that's a very valid point.
and I'm unprotected.
That's
what happens in a lot of these police.
All right, we gonna get to the juicy shit in 1 second. I just got one more question before we get to the meat and potatoes of it all. Who here has experienced direct racism?
Hold on, say it one more time.
As far as what? With the police or in general?
Anybody in general, who here has experienced direct racism?
I feel like I experienced direct racism, and I feel like it's more subliminal than anything. And I feel like the racism that we experience as Black people these days, is we get so used to it, we don't even know that people being racist. Like, it's just, and it's sickening to me. It's so sad. So I'm kind of glad that this time is happening, because this time it was supposed to be here. It's supposed to be happening. It's a reason and a season for everything. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I would classify this as racism, but a lot of people, whenever they speak to me on the phone, they're like, they speak to me and then they meet me, and they're like, oh, I was expecting Karen to show up.
Right. Or they say, oh, you sound different. Like, how the hell is that supposed to sound?
Your voice doesn't match your...
My name on paper is Kenny Levy, and by normal society terms, it's a white name. Until I show up.
You would be a Jewish guy.
Last name.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Levi is a Jewish name.
Levy or Levy.
Yeah. Right. So until I show up and they see this big black 6'4" nigga pull up, and they're like, okay.
I don't know if that would be classified as racism, but that's...
What about you, Zoe? You ever experienced direct racism?
No, it's so crazy because I wanted to chime in real fast. And the reason my answer is no. Let me explain to you why. Because I'm from the Bronx. So growing up, it's a lot different for us, especially everybody that's on the Zoom that's from New York. You guys could basically feel what I'm saying, you guys. We never really dealt with racism on a day-to-day. I'm now in Richmond, Virginia, Commonwealth State. And I live in the suburbs of Richmond. And I live in a pretty nice area. But when I see people, when I talk to people, they will quickly sit there and tell me, and I'll sit there and say to them, or they'll sit there and say, oh man, this racism. I'm like, you know what's so funny? I've never had to do with racism. And they'll sit there and say, how? Why not? I say, because I'm not from here. I'm not from here. And then when I say where I'm from, we're from the melting pot. It's a lot different. You know what I mean? And then when we did have the one or two white people that we grew up with, they were more Black than we were. So we never even looked at it as them feeling some type of way. And the ones that were supposedly racist, like their grandparents, they took a liking to me and my brother. So I was always in. I never even seen it. So no, I can't sit there and honestly say that I dealt with it on the one-on-one.
That is a fact, because growing up, there's probably like 10 white people in the whole Bronx. So we probably knew like 4 of them. So
that's a fact. That's a fact.
All right. So let's get into this. Let's get into the shits now, man.
Oh, change the scenery. Yeah,
let's get into the shits.
That's in my office.
Minneapolis starts going crazy. Like literally from day one, they start going crazy out there. Target burns down. Where are we at that point when we seeing a multi-billion-dollar establishment being looted and burnt to the ground? Renee, what are you thinking at that point?
At that point, I'm thinking it's about damn time. We got fed up. We did it the peaceful way. No one listened. I've literally been going back and forth with people for the past few days on Facebook talking about, there's peaceful ways of going about doing things. And I'm like, well, we were peaceful. We were peaceful for hundreds of years, protesting, and nothing has happened. It's not until, people started looting and breaking into things, stealing things, where you actually see corporations like the Targets coming out and saying they're with Black Lives. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. They actually used the hashtag. I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And then like reading through some of these people's comments, like on Instagram, the companies that came out, I'm reading some of them and people are like, oh, well, I'm unfollowing you because all lives matter. Are you serious? So our Black lives don't matter, but all lives matter. How can all lives matter, yet and still you're mad that they use the hashtag Black Lives Matter? Does that make absolutely no sense, But I was like, if it gotta burn, let the shit burn. Because if people are showing more importance to buildings rather than lives, that says a lot about them.
So let me
exactly. It says a lot.
No, I was gonna say, let me ask Keita. So what isn't America understanding about the looting right now? What aren't they getting about it?
So what they're not getting is it's our cry up, trying to get your attention so that you could see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is trying to get justice and respect because being mistreated. It's been going on for years. Let me give you an example. Remember that movie, Wesley Snipes, Robert De Niro, The Fan, right? Mm-hmm. Remember what Robert De Niro did? He was torturing Wesley Snipes, and then he finally kidnapped his son. And remember what he said? Now do you care? Now do you care? That's how I feel we're saying. Now do y'all motherfuckers care? Now do you care?
Right.
What more do we have to do?
I got you. So what's your thoughts on the early stage? Because we're going to go through the whole up until from then until now. So early on in the game, you see Minneapolis every hour on the news. It's this, that. What?
Oh, you broke up for a second, Pay.
Yo, P, you broke up for a second.
Yeah, you're breaking up. Yeah,
my fault. Somebody was trying to call me just now. I was saying, when you're first seeing everything going on in Minneapolis, people in the streets angry, upset. They start hitting the businesses, start tearing shit up. What's your first thoughts at that point?
Let's go. Okay. It's time. Let's go. It's time. You see the teeth? You see the teeth? Because I was ready. Because it took, in order for things to change, something has to be disruptive. And this is the point right now where we are actually doing something. And like I said, I don't really care for all the negative that we're getting behind it, but I'm for it. I'm for all the smoke. And that's this has to happen in order for things to change. I mean, I've heard it best, and I know it sounds crazy, but Dame Dash said it best. Like, things have to be disruptive in order for things to change. And I consistently use that word or that phrase because now people are paying attention. But it took for us to get to this point for people to actually start paying attention.
Right.
What do we? I'm asking everybody this, and listen, just chime in when you can. I don't want to keep calling out everybody. Just chime in when you can, though.
But we're just letting you be the leader because you did.
I know, but I don't want to keep I want to hear from everybody. I don't want to keep just picking. You know what I mean? So I want to hear from everybody. But when you got people on social media saying, "What is looting going to solve? What is looting going to do? What are the answers to that?"
Can I speak on that? See, I think this is what happened. The looting is ran by, but this is just my own personal conspiracy, and it sounds true to me. I don't think that Black people started the looting. That's not who started this whole looting thing. Because if that was the case, we would have been looting since the pandemic starting. That's not where it came from. It's these big, unknown, well, we don't know them, but mainstream America, and I'm sure Trump and people who they know who they are. It's like organizations, I don't want to call them ISIS, but it's like people like ISIS who start this whole loot, and they put the information out there. It's people who have more control than just the average Joe Schmo like you and me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can say,
Right.
let's go riot, let's go loot at Target. But only people that's gonna show up is us six and your friends. When you got a whole bunch of people coming, you know that it's more powerful than just regular people.
Let me stop you there. Me personally, I don't like the way we keep using the word riot because it condescends what we're doing. What we're witnessing is an uprising. People did not just wake up one day and decide we're just going to start fucking shit up for no reason. That's what
right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, a riot is what you see at a football game. A riot is what you see at the parking lot of a
spur of the
restaurant.
moment, exactly.
I think those angry whites was rioting. I think that angry whites was rioting. I think that we was like doing like a peace stand. I don't see nobody rioting but white people. Anybody riot like
the bottom line is this. The reason why we're not witnessing a riot is because if we would not have seen what happened with George Floyd, we would not be out in these streets right now.
It's a fact.
That's
That's
true.
a fact.
You understand? That's why it's not a riot. What you're witnessing is an uprising. People are like people have said on this live, people are fed the fuck up. You understand what I'm saying? And if you're going to keep disrupting our lives, we're going to keep disrupting your lives.
The one thing that I find interesting is just how big corporations are actually standing with us as far as like what you would expect, like a store like Target, right? They store got looted, their stores got destroyed. You would expect them to be attacking the people that did the destroying to their property, but they're actually not.
You know what? But let me cut you off and tell you why. Because do you know with big business or with any business, there's a thing called insurance. Right now during this,
they don't care.
Right now during this time,
they're not panicking over no insurance.
But some people are actually wishing and hoping that their store gets looted.
Get my store. Yeah, get my store.
Because they know that the insurance is going. When you get into a car accident and you run and you just hit someone's bumper, you get paid out at a maximum. The bumper might cost you $300-400 to get fixed. They're going to give you $3,000.
Right.
Same thing with these stores. Same thing with these big corporations. The only thing is they're not getting $3,000. They're getting $3 million, $5 million.
I said that on the video I'm about to put out. All of that stuff is insured up to double and triple the value.
Yep, definitely. Use that same example.
Yeah, so him coming out, like I took it 50-50 on that because it's like, okay, I could appreciate him coming out and saying, listen, straight up and down, we don't give a fuck about property and inventory, all that can be replaced. You understand what I'm saying? But this man's life can't, like that. In a year from now, that store is going to be back up and running. George Floyd is going to be in the grave regardless.
Forever.
They actually said that a lot of the places where
and that's the point.
They destroyed, sorry for cutting you off, they look brand new again. They cleaned up the areas. It looks like nothing, nothing ever happened. But that man's life will never come back. So that just shows that property doesn't mean shit.
But what do you say to those black people who look like me and you who are telling other black people that's not the way? What do we say to that?
You can't control anger, man.
And you ask them, and then you ask them, what's the way? You ask them, what's the way?
Absolutely.
What's the way?
Absolutely.
I remember when the whole thing started in Minneapolis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tamika Mallory.
Yeah,
she made an impactful speech. It was 3 minutes. It's on YouTube if you guys want to see it, where she said, "We learned this violence from you.
Yeah,
we learned how to be violent and how to loot from you." So I took that, and then she said, "Where was AutoZone when Philando Castile got shot in the car?"
Right.
Like, where were they to say somebody in a car?
Which also happened in Minnesota.
Exactly.
And so I want to give a little background to what has been going on, because a lot of people listen. George Floyd is not an isolated incident in Minnesota or America, period. But what the brothers and sisters have been going through in Minnesota over the past few years have been crazy. You understand what I'm saying? George Floyd was just the straw that broke the camel's back. The police chief of Minneapolis once sued the Minneapolis Police Department for discrimination and racism.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So let's not see. People need to understand. I think people don't understand when it comes to anger. Period. You put a scared dog in a corner. At a certain point, he's gonna bite you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You
That's
sure?
absolute
Sure is.
You
And
understand
just
what
to
I'm
let you know, and just to let you guys know, Minnesota, because I've been there, we was out there on tour one year,
saying?
and just to let you guys know, Minnesota is like the Wild Wild West. They have a night. Minnesota, you think of the country, but when you're there, it's the city. They have Mall of the Americas, and they have a complete nightlife. And once we left the club, they were out there with AK-47s, and I don't mean just the police. I mean the regular citizen was out there,
Citizens.
guns
Yep.
are blazing, guns are blazing in Minnesota. So people think of this, they think of the Twins, they think of the sports teams, or they think of the South, or maybe I don't know, Northwest. But this place, they get all the way busy, just like any other major city. You know, so for this to take place there, it didn't surprise me. It's just the fact that I'm tired, and if I'm tired, I know a lot of other people are actually tired of the same situation taking place.
And
I think America doesn't understand how far we've been pushed.
yeah.
You understand?
Even the governor of New York, he said it's the same chapter, it's just a different title for the chapter.
Absolutely.
This is the same, because he went down the line from Rodney King up until George Floyd in one of his press conferences. He said it's the same thing over and over again. And what?
So let's get into this, man. The officer ultimately ended up getting charged with third-degree murder.
That was
Does that satisfy anybody here?
I don't know. That was
Absolutely not. That was a big slap to the face. All right, this is what they thought. They thought that third degree was gonna silence us, and that's what they thought it was gonna do. No, we're tired of the same charges. We're tired of the cop, getting let free. No, we're tired. We're tired all around. So they thought that was gonna make us shut up like we normally do, sweep it under the rug until the next incident occurs, and then here comes a new hashtag. No.
Listen, my thing is this, man. You could get the needle in a lot of places for killing a cop. I think it should be the other way around as well. If
I agree.
Unjustly
I agree.
kills a civilian, give them the needle. Like it should be no difference. It should be no difference.
But the whole thing is, right, and this is what I want people to understand, especially on this Zoom, is the fact that if he got charged with third degree, or let's just sit there and say he got charged with first degree murder, what does that do for us? It does absolutely nothing. We're not looking for a charge. We're looking for a conviction. We're worried about the wrong thing. It all boils down to what he's going to be convicted
for.
And so that's what we're looking for. Forget the fact, I don't give a damn if it's first or third. If he doesn't get convicted, this is all a waste of time. He has to get convicted,
and I really
that's what
feel
I'm
that
fighting
the medical examiner in Minneapolis, that needs to change because of the report that they put out. They said that it was because of his underlying health conditions. He wasn't healthy enough.
No.
People on top of him.
Right.
I just seen something.
He didn't have a 200-pound man sitting on his neck for 10 minutes.
No, I'm gonna send you guys a thing just now. I just seen he changed it and said it was a asphyxiation.
Yeah, when the autopsy.
No.
Right.
But this autopsy that you are reading from, that was from today, right?
That was from the family. That was an independent.
Yes, but that is the independent. That's the family that hired their own autopsy, their own, people to perform their own.
As they should.
And we gotta state another fact that officer has a bail. His bail is $500,000. Now whether he can make that bail or not, I don't know. But he's
out. He's out.
He's out already.
Oh my goodness.
The thing is, they need to convict him for first-degree murder because that's not his first time killing a black guy. He killed another black man in what year was it? It was in the early 2011. He killed a 21-year-old
something like that. It was over 10, almost.
So if that's not his first time,
that should tell him something right there.
That is premeditated at this point. If you have a history of doing this to
that's crazy.
Men, that's premeditated.
Let's not forget that both the cop and George worked at the same nightclub.
That's right.
Yeah, they knew each other.
It's personal.
And the owner of the nightclub said that the cop was always fearful and more aggressive towards the black patrons at the club. So
let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think a lot of people have because keep in mind, there's still 3 other cops that haven't been charged yet.
still trying to figure out why.
So what are we, and when I say we, I mean Black people, what are we talking about day to day on social media? I feel like we're talking about everything except for the ultimate mission and the ultimate goal. Are we losing sight of what's in front of us?
No.
No, absolutely not.
No, I'm not talking about us here. I know everybody here is within mental
No,
means of staying focused. I'm saying in general.
No, I still think the
some of
message
us
is
are
being conveyed.
Yeah.
I think that this incident has opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
It has opened up Pandora's box, and it started with the pandemic, you know, attacking Black and brown communities. And now you put this George Floyd situation on top of it, unemployment. You got kids running around. You don't know when these kids are going back to school. So now you are stressed as all hell.
Right.
Now you have all these other situations, and you know that 3 other people need to still be charged, but it's like so much information coming at you all at once. You're just like, okay, we got to do this, we got to fix this, we got to fix that, we got to fix that, we got to help this city rebuild.
You know what? And Marcel, I'm so glad you said that, because this is what I want to say to the brothers and sisters on the ground in Minneapolis. We got to put an end goal to all of this. We got to have a demand at the end of all of this. We got to say, listen, if charges are not brought up against the rest of those officers, we're going to sit in these streets day and night and keep fucking shit up until they are. I think one of the problems is we don't have an end result for all of this. Like, what is the end result that we want for all of this?
Well, we know what the end result is, basically a conviction. Yeah. But in order for what I think you're asking for is for someone to take a leadership role and basically step in. And I will definitely sit there and say, I would love to nominate Killer Mike and put him in that space.
Do we have any Black leaders?
No, we don't.
No.
Yeah.
I refute that. I think we do have Black leaders. I think that they just don't have enough power, because the people of some type of
That's
celebrity,
what it is.
So, because the people that have some type of celebrity status don't get behind them. So I think if we sat there and elected someone of a stature like a Killer Mike, right, or a T.I., or, and I'm not trying to say my song, but my song, or someone that we already look up as a figure.
Yeah, Tamika Mallory.
We took someone as a figure and got people to actually get behind them, just verbally co-sign them and sit there and say, I think that this person will be great at doing what they do. And then basically have a campaign behind that. I think we will have a great leader.
But here's the thing, and this is where the conversation is going to get a little hairy, because we got to have people in position that are extremely militant, because nothing is going to come for the betterment of our people without sacrifice. And if that means our lives, then so be it. But that has to be understood, yo.
Right.
And
people are afraid. People are afraid to lose their lives. People are afraid. Like, it's just this fear that's instilled into people. Like, they're afraid to feel like nobody backing us. And then at this point, we're so broken up as a race, as a Black people. We so broken up and disenfranchised that, like, it's just like a mental thing. So unfortunately, those people who can't seem to get with the enlightenment, because this stuff has to happen, we have to evolve, they're going to die. It's sad. The people like the ones we talking about earlier, like those guys who was standing outside, Trump want to kill some niggas. I'm not being smart. He wants those national
He wants to.
kill You know,
he
they
wants
go outside to regular neighborhoods like this, they kill them because they know they right there.
Yeah, but
and a lot of people are very, a lot of celebrities, I want to say, I think it's time for them to cut their shit and stop worrying about their brand. Because without us, you would not have a brand.
Exactly. And that's
so
not even this,
get behind what we are saying. Because right now,
listen, hold on. You're expecting a lot from people who stand for nothing.
Absolutely.
Well, then that's where the conversation needs to happen.
That's where you're bugging at. You're expecting too much from people who do not stand for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a lot of celebrities that just we shouldn't be expecting them to speak up when they don't. A lot of them don't even come from this kind of environment.
Like, where do you see this
listen. A lot of rappers, hip hop artists don't even make the most money off of themselves. So how do you expect them to stand up for you if they don't even stand up for their damn self?
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta like have reasonable expectations of people. That's why I tell people all the time, I don't give a fuck about what Drake have to say in the middle of all of this. I don't give a fuck what Nicki Minaj got to say in the middle of all of this, because they're not in the streets with these people who are out there getting dragged like dogs by cops every day.
Right.
They're not out there.
Yeah. And I completely understand what you're trying to say, but
not to cut you off. The real celebrities are the people outside right now. Those are the real celebrities.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But how about the youth right now? That because when I look at the TV, I see mostly teenagers, high school kids, college kids, and they are blasting Pop Smoke. They're blasting, all these other artists while they're looting. So
no, I get it. Murtel, I hear you. Influence is a big thing. I get you.
Okay.
But we need to change that. That's the problem. We need to change that. You understand what I'm saying? Because the real influence comes from the people that are actually on the ground. That's where the influence should be at.
How many people on this Zoom? How many people on this Zoom have actually went out or got a chance to actually go outside to see what has actually been going on? How many people have been on the front line?
I got a baby.
Me.
No. I don't listen. I don't question anybody. You get a chance, you get the opportunity, you get the opportunity. But if you don't, then you don't. And the only reason I ask is because when I found out what they were doing here in Richmond, I made it my business to take me and my family and to go downtown, and not just to go down and drive by to go see what was going on, but to actually get out the car and stand amongst the people just so I could feel what they felt.
Right.
And I just wanted to see it so I can make sure that when I sit there and talk, it comes from a place of experience and not from a place of, and not from just a place of me hearing certain things, which is not wrong, because everyone's experience is their own experience. But I had to actually feel it. When I was out in the streets, my feet had to touch that ground. When I'm sitting in them offices, my butt had to hit that seat. So I had to literally stand out there. I could feel that.
I was gonna go to Elmont, a couple of towns over, but then Kenny sent me the message, and I'm like, all right, let me jump on this with him.
And this is dope. And this is super dope.
And it's peaceful over there. They're not wilding out. They just yelling, chanting. The police
Elmont is a different kind of calm over
the
there.
police are standing amongst them. They not doing nothing. They just watching. They not even touching them. They not getting crazy.
I think Zoe's point.
This is from what I just saw.
No, listen. Right. I think Zoe's point is you don't listen. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zoe, but what he's basically trying to say is that, it's one thing for us to sit here and talk about it, but it's another thing to be out there and feel it.
Feeling it. Totally. I agree.
No, absolutely, 1,000,000%. But it's like, and I tell my godson this because he goes to Boston College. He's about to be a senior, and he was telling me he wanted to go out there to a peaceful protest, and I try to explain to him, all protests begin peacefully. It's what happens and what they do for us to feel it. But I was just really saying that because, like I said, everyone's experience and everyone takes certain things in. Like, some people can learn from others. Some people got to touch the fire on their own in order for them to feel it. I myself had to go out there to feel it. I had to look at the monuments that was spray painted with BLM on them, and ACAB, which I never even knew meant all cops are bastards. And I had to see that.
Oh, wow. I never knew that either. Wow.
Yeah, I never heard that one.
Right. That's the new thing that they're doing. So I had to see that. And I had to see all these businesses being boarded up. And I had, like I said, and I had to touch the ground, and I had to see these white people rebelling against these other white people, because all of that for me was a great experience. And not the fact that it was just an experience, but it's going to be a part of my history. And I had to bring my 6-year-old daughter out there to go see that.
I actually went down to Baltimore for Freddie Gray, and to feel that passion that and to feel that frustration of a city of Black men and women who have been tormented and violated for years. It's next level. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Renee, is that your dog?
She turned around. I thought it was a wolf.
I was like, what's going on here?
Is
your dog protesting?
Are you running late for taking him for a walk?
No. Some
Hey,
person.
so you crazy.
Okay.
Yo,
Well,
let me tell you this real fast too. Let me cut you
Yeah,
off
go
real
ahead,
fast.
go ahead.
And I told my brother this one day, and I want you guys to understand my pain. The biggest mistake I ever made in my life, because I only made one mistake in my whole entire life, and that was telling my brother not to attend the Million Man March, because during that time he was in college. And I didn't want him to miss
God,
a day
yeah.
of school because of that. And that was the biggest mistake that I've ever made. And I had called him the other day, and I apologized to him for me telling him not to go. And he cried. This is my twin. It wasn't like my little brother. This is my twin. And I said, Dre, you can't go. You got to go to school. And I told him the other day, I said, I want to apologize to you for that, because that was so historical. And that was something that all of us as men needed to see, especially during that time.
I went to the Million Man March, not because of I'm a big fan of the Nation of Islam or Farrakhan, but because to show solidarity with my people. And I think sometimes that's the bigger thing in front of your personal beliefs. Whether you personally are into it or not, sometimes it's just bigger just to stand with your people. You understand what I'm saying? Let's talk about what's been going on in New York City for the past 24 hours. New York City definitely got crazy.
Brooklyn definitely got crazy.
Brooklyn got crazy.
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
I'm still in shock looking at 2 police cruisers go and try to trample over
Run people over.
protesters.
I
And
haven't seen it. I heard
now it's an investigation. What more? And I hate it whenever it's clear as day on camera. What are you investigating?
Investigating. That's what I said. Like, what exactly are they looking to find?
Oh,
Yeah,
was it the right
Did they
tire
go in gear?
marks?
Did they
You have tire
go
marks
in
on
gear
your
1 or
leg?
gear 2? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
De Blasio's daughter got arrested in some of the protests. Shout out to her. I want to shout her out for being out there with the people.
She's more realer than her father.
Right. Right. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And but are we handling it? Because most of us here are from New York, so are we handling it the right way here in New York?
I feel we are.
Yeah.
Definitely feel we are.
Okay.
I'm a little bit disheartened with Mayor de Blasio right now because of his take on it. And I feel that now that blue wall that I was just talking about, now he's pandering to that wall.
I want to say this though. We got to draw the line between people who are out here for the mission and for the fight and people who are out here for themselves. And with anything, there are going to be people who take advantage of the situation. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of what I saw last night were people who were out there taking advantage of the situation.
Oh, definitely.
Yo, Peso, something's telling me you've been reading.
A lot of people like violating.
No, listen, I don't give a fuck about Gucci and Dior and I don't give a fuck about none of them stores. What I do care about is how the message is getting misconstrued and how we're getting
exactly.
You gotta remember, we live in a society, we live in a weak-minded society, right? It's a monkey see, monkey do world. People only go off of what they see when they open up their phones. So if that's all they see, that's all they're gonna talk about. You see what I'm saying? And that's not what we're trying to get out there. We're not trying to get out there this message of, just run down in Gucci and just run down in Louis and just run down in Bloomingdale's. That's not the message. You know what I'm saying? If we fucking shit up for a purpose, let's do that. But if we fucking shit up just to go sell shit in the hood, that's not what we out here for.
That's not what we out here for, exactly.
Yeah.
And even
you know what I'm saying? So we need to draw the line between the two.
When I was watching the news, the news coverage, they dedicated a lot more time on the looting and the rioting.
Right.
Then they had a wonderful and beautiful, peaceful protest happening in Queens that happened right there, and they didn't really cover it the way that it should have been covered. And all the other peaceful protests that were going on around the world.
In Soho.
And we're just talking about like the protest that's going on right now in the United States, but London, Toronto, Germany, even Iran is protesting.
Right.
But we gotta get into. We're not skipping over nothing on this. We got to get into some of the black businesses that have been destroyed throughout Minneapolis, Atlanta,
Yeah.
LA. We got to talk about that. What's some of your thoughts on that? How we feeling about that?
Well,
Are they casualties of war or what? Like, what are we doing?
Yo, I think you have
Casualties of war.
been you've been reading my text messages. I've been sending that to my godson. I can't even. Yo, me and you think so much alike because that was one of the things that were brought up, and I don't think that people are coming and getting the logistics and putting everything on paper, saying, okay, we're gonna hit all these businesses, but let's not hit the black businesses, and then people come behind them and say, F that. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the fact that people are actually going out there with good intent. And what happens is they become casualties of war. Because how do I know if you're not standing in front of your business, that's a black-owned business? So even out here,
that shows
even out here,
though.
No, it does. But my whole thing is, if that's your business, right, you should stand in front of your business. Because if I see someone standing, okay, for example, there's a jewelry shop out here in Richmond. It's been out here. It's black owned and it's been out here for 100+ years, from what they say. Now, mind you, what they done was they had their family stand in front. All these other businesses have been boarded up. Their business has not been boarded up. What they did was they took their family and they stood in front of their business, and just to show the support to the protesters. And their business has not been touched. So I believe, and I know everyone doesn't have all the time in the world, but this is something that you actually built up from the ground. I think that you should stand there and represent and protect your business. And I doubt very much that a protester will walk by and say, I'm going to smash this window, even though I know this is owned by a black or black woman.
No, they're definitely like, there was a female in Atlanta that stood there and put her sign up there and stood there, and they didn't touch hers either.
Absolutely. So that's why I honestly believe. But they're casualties of war, and I feel bad for them as well, because I know their insurance policies might not cover 100%, and they might lose. But again, disruption.
Someone I know in Virginia, hers got violated. Someone
and
I
you
know
also
in
have
Virginia.
to understand right now, especially with the pandemic, a lot of these small black-owned businesses maybe did not even get the government assistance that they were supposed to get. So now they also put on top of that, it's like adding insult to injury. Now we didn't even get that 30,000.
I feel
now our business has been destroyed. So it's just like,
I was gonna say, I feel like if you have a black-owned business in a neighborhood that the protests were going down, if that and your business got vandalized, that showed a disconnect between you and your community, because the community as a whole would know that this is a black-owned business. They do, they do amazing things.
Fucking preach, yo. Like I said the same thing. Like that, you would think that people would know that you're there.
Exactly, they would know that. I know every black-owned business in there's none. There's a one, technically one, and I know that that's his business. So I would go to his business and support. If I was to see rioters or somebody trying to smash into his business, I'll be the one to protect it, even with him not being there. Like, look, this is black-owned. He supports. He does
right.
But me personally, I also feel like if your business does happen to be just a casualty of what's going on, don't take it personal, because the people are just trying to be heard. Like that's really all it is. Like a lot of the businesses are saying like this material stuff can be replaced. So this is just the people just lashing out in anger. And what do we know about anger? That when it comes, people don't think. They just start tearing up the first thing that, they see immediately. So, if your business does get vandalized, it's just like, take the L for your people and worry about it later.
That's the fact. Listen, Ari, go ahead. What you think?
Huh? Yeah, I agree with No Mercy just said. Just take the L, because, it comes with territory. What we're going through right now. And I mean, if you at that point, I feel like the disconnect, like like Renee said, it is a disconnect, and it may just be stem from like the systematic oppression that we come from. Like, so a lot of times when us as black people get black-owned businesses, it's like, yeah, nigga, we made it. Look at us, y'all still down there, doing broke shit because y'all can't elevate your mind. But look at us business owners. So a lot of times black people they leave out the hood. they own these businesses and they got this attitude that white supremacists really set up for them because they feel like they accomplished something, but they didn't accomplish anything because, I mean, it's like a whole lot of, this gets so deep, and I'm an analyzer, so I don't want to like take the conversation so deep. But yeah, I agree with no mercy.
What do you think, Kida?
Oh boy. This is how I look at it, and I might get a little bit into like with it, but my grandmother taught me, if you worry it, then that means you doubt in God. So me personally, if I was a store, I'm more concerned about the lives. Did my employees get hurt? I'm not worried about the store. Things can be replaced, but lives can't. And we're forgetting that I wouldn't take it personal. Happening because people are fighting because they lost a life. So I wouldn't take it personal. Gotta replace everything. That's how I look at it.
I know I had someone on Facebook going back and forth with me today because I was telling them, about the whole insurance is going to cover it. And he hit me back with what happens when all of these companies file insurance claims, and then the insurance companies have to get, bailouts from the government. Then what happens?
They will get bailouts.
The government needs to do what it needs to do.
They'll get it.
Can I say something? Geico, all those insurance companies have insurance policies themselves.
Listen,
They are.
There you go.
Got a bailout except for the people, though.
When people try to get into that part of the argument, there's no one-to-one answer for that. That's all dependent on a variable of things.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like that's a silly argument to have with anybody because me and you could both have life insurance, but it ain't the same.
Exactly.
Right.
It would depend on our policy, our carrier, what we both put in per. Like it's variables that go into that. Like you know what I mean?
And the
like,
value.
Right. So it's like different variables that go into that. So that's just a silly argument to have with anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know what goes into that. But I will say this, man. Black people, there's no such thing as a perfect uprising. There are going to be casualties in any war or in any fight. There are going to be casualties, yo. We need to understand that. But nobody is staying silent on those black businesses that have been destroyed or burnt. Perfect example, the brother who lost his barbershop in Minneapolis. He asked for $100,000 on his GoFundMe. His GoFundMe is at $600,000 right now. Stood up for him. I personally sent him a few hundred. We stood up for him. Those two sisters that lost their boutique in Atlanta, their GoFundMe is at over $200,000 right now. So we're here. Like those that are on the front line, we are here. We're telling you, listen, don't worry, you're going to get it back.
You're going to get it back.
You understand what I'm saying? But we cannot guarantee you a perfect uprising. That's just not going to happen.
Nope.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So nobody is, I want people to understand, nobody is taking the fact that there have been black-owned businesses that have been lost in all of this. We're not taking it lightly. I don't think anybody on this live is taking it lightly, or anybody that's for the movement is taking it lightly. Like nobody. We got you. Trust me. Put up that donation link. We're going to be here for you.
That's a fact.
You understand what I'm saying? Let's talk about a big part of the conversation. Black on black crime. A lot of people are bringing that up right now. I'm pretty sure if you've been on social media, you've seen that on your timeline. A lot of people are talking about that right now.
But being as though I was a victim of a black on black crime, it's sickening. I just feel like how much more stupider can we be as not us, but as a race, as a society? Come on, they killing us. It's pretty evident who our enemy is. Why the heck are we trying to make problems? I mean, this got to be, that's like, I love being black, but then it's certain parts of being black that's just so, like, what are y'all doing? Why do you want to kill somebody?
But do you not understand? I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but let me explain this to you. And I'm tired of hearing that term black on black crime. There's no such thing as white on white crime, or Asian on Asian crime, or Indian on Indian crime. So why they focus on what we're doing to each other when every other race has animosity within their own race at
Race
certain times.
also.
You know what it is?
It's a part
And
of life.
You know what really causes this whole black on black crime thing is because ever since slavery, we were always told, okay, the lighter skinned slaves were in the house, the darker skinned slaves were out in the field. You had to compete. You had to show that you were the strongest one. Even in the business, it's always like, it's now that we're seeing more black roles and more black people in certain things. So in our heads, in the hood, it is that competition. No, I had that block first. I had that corner first. So now we're going to fight over it. It's like both of us can't eat off that same corner.
No, that's a fact.
Right.
But I want to keep it in clear context of what I'm bringing it up against, because because a lot of people are saying, yo, we're
but you have to.
No, hear me.
Okay.
A lot of people are bringing up, we're talking about injustice. We're talking about a white cop killing a black man. But a lot of people's counter argument to that is, well, why aren't we protesting and marching for black on black crime? Why
it's
aren't
invalid. It's invalid
crime?
because that argument takes the focus off of what's at hand. You understand? A lot of these same people that are saying, oh, why y'all not like this for black on black crime? What are y'all doing during these times? Like, y'all want to bring it up now for it to be a topic of conversation, but y'all are silent just like everybody else is. So don't try to take the focus off what's going on right now. I mean, when you're forcefully paying taxes and your taxes are going to these people who are supposed to be protecting you at all times and not killing you, I mean, yeah, it's a valid argument because they're killing us. And we pay these people to protect us and keep us safe.
I love the fact that Mr. No Mercy said we're forced to pay taxes. That's exactly what's taking place.
Listen,
I'm happy
man,
you said that.
That's America's version of extortion. Like, that's how I look
Absolutely. No, you're 100% correct. I just love the fact that you said that and I heard it. So thank you for saying that.
That's a fact. But Renee, what's your thoughts when people bring up black on black crime as a counter argument to what's going on now?
It honestly, I can't stand it because it's beyond the point. You know, that's not the matter at hand. Right now we're speaking about, you know, the injustice we face constantly at the hands of, you know, police officers. So honestly, whenever I see that, I don't even pay it no mind, because I'm not going to argue with somebody, especially somebody that's not black, about what goes on in the black community, because you don't know what goes on in the black community. You don't live here. You know, you only know what you see. And a great example is my neighbor. My neighbor's this white Jew, and she literally told me one day we was having a race conversation, and she literally told me, you
better chill out before you fuck around seeing an eviction notice on your door tomorrow.
Yeah, she literally told me, she was like, you know, I didn't like black people because of what I saw on the news. So she always said that, you know, we were violent and all we did was like rob and kill and steal. And I'm like, where the hell are you getting this shit from? And she's literally like, it's what I see on the news. And she was like, she didn't realize that, you know, black people were good until she went to the workforce and she had 2 black people on her, that was her coworkers. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're 25 years old and it took you damn near 25 years to black people are not what you see on the news. Are you serious? Like, it was baffling as hell to me, honestly. But
I think people need to understand that crime is a matter of demographic, not race. That's number one. I'm pretty sure all of us here have watched some form or facet of a cop show, whether it be Cops, First 48, Live PD, whatever. And I'm pretty sure within those shows you've seen white on white crime. I know I definitely have.
Absolutely.
You know, so we gotta stop limiting the scope of how we look at, especially African American crimes, to just saying, well, black people just kill each other. Well, the last time I checked, the Vegas fucking mass shooter was white and he killed a bunch of white people.
Yes, he did.
So it did.
Like what, 30 people or some shit like that.
50.
And he got
but those people don't care.
Handcuffs. He walked right out.
I feel like those people.
It's like But is that how many of you think that's just like? Where do you think that comes from, though? Especially coming from Black people, because it really is disheartening to see Black people using that argument. So where does that come from? Does it come from just niggas being in the hood all the time?
It comes from the fact that like Black people. The reason why Black people are targeted because Black people are the chosen people. I'm like, this is not religion. It's not religious at all. You can look at America right now and see who it like. We are labeled a minority, but really on actuality we're a priority. If we weren't a priority, how come every other race right now is dying to look like a Black woman? How come every other race of men right now like are embodying a Black man? It's because Black is so beautiful. So yes, it is a problem when another Black person kills another Black person, because you don't know how it's so messed up that we are so systematically oppressed that you don't even know how beautiful and how powerful you are. George Floyd, the person who got killed, was a Black man. He was so damn powerful that he outroared the whole world. That was a Black man. That white man with his knee on his neck didn't do that. It was the power behind that Black man who was dead. So yes, it's a problem when Black people hurt Black people because you are so damn beautiful. You don't even know how beautiful you are. And yeah, I'm gonna make fun of you because I'm like, other races target this race and make fun of stuff like that because these beautiful people are killing each other. You don't even have to do it. These strong people are going to kill each other. We're not strong enough to kill them, but they strong enough to kill them. So why not?
We gotta. But listen, we gotta stop that selective viewpoint, because there's organizations in every inner city across America that are aimed at stopping inner city crime. I think we don't talk about that enough. There are people who speak out against inner city crime in Black neighborhoods daily. We don't talk about that enough. You ask people, well, when I hear people bring up Black on Black crime, I ask them where they're from. When they tell me where they're from, I say, okay, can you name one organization in your neighborhood that's against inner city crime? They can't name one. So you're talking about something that you're not even looking to change. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we have to be the change we speak of, period. Each individual, we have to be that. You can't bark about something that you're not willing to do nothing for.
Right. So at the end of it all, right, it's all due to education, correct?
Mm.
Yeah. And self-awareness. Yeah, and self-awareness. Yes. Listen, so me and you street niggas for real. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing to get into negativity. Absolutely nothing. Where we from, we could go get a gun faster than we could go get a book. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So we know what it is to come from that life, but we both made conscious decisions to do other things.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. You understand what I'm saying? Niggas understand it, like, yo.
Somebody's phone is staticky. Yeah,
I hear that. But just because you from the streets don't mean you got to stay in the streets.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And as two women on this live who have sons, I'm pretty sure that's what y'all teaching y'all kids.
Yo, why you never asked me about my son? Why you never asked me about my son?
Why? I didn't know. My fault, you got a son?
It's a grown man now. My son is 26.
Okay, but no, that's real shit though. I think the picture that's painted of people who come from the streets is so inaccurate.
Right.
You understand? Because everybody that's like,
because they think.
Yeah, go ahead. Keita, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, because I try to teach my children different too. I've been locked up before. I've been in jail. And I turned my shit around. I got 3 degrees, 3 certifications. So I try to teach them not to be the hard head, knucklehead that I was always with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, Keita. I think that's you that's staticking.
Me?
It's one of y'all.
Yeah, I think that's you. You was the only one talking right now. You was the only one I was hearing it from.
But when you was talking, I was hearing it from you.
Nah, you just put your headphones in.
Let me get out. And no, I had them in the whole time.
You go out and come back and let's see. It might be me, I don't know, but go out and come back in.
All right.
But no, it's like we gotta stop fighting in the middle of all of it. Yeah, it might be me.
I think it's you, homeboy.
It's you.
It might be me because now I'm heading on me.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
Peso, just blame it on me, right?
All right, let me
Blame
go
it
out.
on me.
Let me go out and come back in.
But I was like, can you do that because you're hosting?
No, Mercy will bring me back in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my guy was blaming everybody. I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm paying attention to everybody on this Zoom as well. I see people got their hair done. I see people got their nails done. They got nice makeup on.
Makeup.
I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. I pay attention
This
to
is
the
what
eyebrows.
happens when you no, none of mine is done, but my hair is done underneath. But I've been throwing this thing on, this wrap.
So I
But
need to start naming.
I know a black person that's been looking out for people. And come here, Carson.
No social distancing. No social distancing. That I do know.
Oh no, she don't play. The girl lets one person come in at a time. She goes by the hour appointment. African American lady. This is Carson. See, he's haircut from my cousin. My cousin came to the crib.
I'm good now or no?
And cut his hair. Say hi, Carson.
And Carson got a haircut.
So you still a little staticky.
Still
yeah, my
No, Peso, before you got back,
works at the post office, but that's his side hustle.
Okay, Peso, before you came back on, I was just telling people, because I had to shed some light to the subject, how I've been paying attention to the people that have not been social distancing, which is damn near everybody on this damn chat. Because I'm looking at eyebrows and nails being done and haircuts and makeup.
Well, she did her own. She did it on her own.
I do my own stuff. So
okay.
I
my own eyebrows. That's it.
I mean, has this whole thing defunct the whole thing about COVID-19? Like, does that shit even really exist?
Well, no, it's going to come back after these protests. After these protests, I'm expecting the cases to go up.
Honestly, I'm not expecting them to say anything about COVID after this because they want the economy to open back up. So I don't see them talking about COVID the way they were talking about it before.
Well, then everyone's going to have the flu.
They're not going to report it. I can tell you that much. I do not see them reporting it.
Well, I would say this. I would say that I know people that have died from COVID or supposedly died from COVID.
So have I, supposedly.
A very, very, very dear and very close friend of mine, which is my brother, had died from COVID. Supposedly.
Oh, my condolences.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Let's be a little fair. Nobody actually dies from COVID-19. You die from the complications.
Mm-hmm.
No, but let me say this as well. I also believe, and I know this is completely off topic, but I think the ventilator is what actually killed them. I don't think.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
My sister is my sister's a nurse manager, and one of her employees got it, and she couldn't breathe. She was a little overweight. She went to the quickest hospital. I want to say it was Interfaith in Brooklyn. Like they said, that's a bad hospital. So my sister told her, whatever you do, if you were able to text and everything, don't get on that fucking ventilator. She said, you got to thug that out. You got to thug it out. And next thing you know, want to say a week and a half later, she was discharged. But had she got on it, I feel like my sister said she probably wouldn't have made it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're saying a lot of people dying in the hospitals. Like, you better off just staying at home trying to thug it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't quarantine yourself for those 7 to 4 days.
Honestly, when it first happened, I honestly think I had it. I haven't had an asthma attack like a strong, sturdy. Was 13 years old. I went to work. I work in a hospital. They told us we all can go home. Somebody in our department tested positive. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right. I go collect my stuff. Go home. Next morning, I wake up. My chest feel like somebody just stepping on my chest. Like I'm wheezing like a donkey. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? So I said, you know what? I started drinking again, and I had to get on the nebulizer. I never get on the nebulizer unless it's like the change of weather or I'm like my allergies are bothering me. And like a big thing, it felt like a big thing of mucus like in my chest. Like I couldn't swallow, I couldn't talk, my voice was going. I literally was banging on my Tarzan, coughing it up, whacking my that when my son had an asthma attack to do that. had to do that. It still wasn't coming up. It was like, now I'm like, yo, do something tonight. I feel like I'm not gonna wake up in the morning. I literally took something, a stick, and then my fingers and stuffed it. Sorry to say it, shoved it down my throat and made all of that shit come up. 2 days later, I started feeling like way better, way better. And I felt like I had it.
I mean, the good thing is like the blessing we're all like safe, healthy here. That's the blessing about all of us, because we all know people who have been affected by that shit. It's kind of crazy that you at the point where you kind of feel guilty for being healthy, right?
Right. It's crazy.
Right.
I be like, damn.
I just heard that they're bugging on Fordham Road right now as we speak.
Wow.
And I heard they just robbed the liquor store. I heard they just robbed the liquor store by me.
Crazy right now.
I think I might need to make a phone call. I think
last couple of things before we get up out of here, y'all, man. We're here now with this George Floyd thing. It's still ongoing as we speak on this live. What do we all want to see come out of this? What is the ultimate goal? Yo, let's start with Zoe.
A conviction.
Okay. Gotcha.
A conviction. I think that for let me say this too. That's for George Floyd. You understand? Not saying what I want for us as a people. That's what I want for George Floyd. So I want a conviction in this case.
Floyd, right.
Gotcha. What do you say, Renee?
Same. I feel like we need a conviction of those 4 officers. We need to make sure that, you know, they don't sit in jail for five years, whatever the case may be. They sit their asses in there for life. They took a life, whether they were physically, you know, harming him, or were they just, or whether they were just bystanders. Because everybody knows, even when you commit a crime, you could just be the getaway driver and your ass is doing time. So
exactly,
that those officers,
guilty by association.
You know, they were bystanders. We're not only looking for a conviction of those officers, but we're looking for convictions of all the past officers that just got, you know, hand tapped on the wrist. I believe,
I agree.
Officers that, I forgot who he killed. I believe they fired him, and then he started working for Chicago PD. I forgot which case that was for. But when I remember, I'll definitely.
Laquan McDonald?
Was it?
Laquan?
I believe that's what you're talking about. Yeah, the guy who had shot Laquan McDonald, he actually got fired from another police department.
And then he started working at Chicago.
Chicago.
That's the only Chicago one that I'm thinking about right now.
Well, we just need convictions, okay? Let their asses sit in jail and watch them, because I believe that one of the officers is on suicide watch right now. I don't want you to go kill yourself. I want you to sit your ass in jail
and suffer.
Okay? The same way those families have to suffer because now they lost a son, your ass is gonna suffer the same way.
I definitely appreciate that. Ari, what do you think? What do you want to see come out of all of this?
Instant result. I want to see some type of significant change as far as how Black men are being treated, brown men are being treated. I want to see a result. Sometimes at this point, any result is a good result. So if if that officer gotta die, or a couple of, you know, privileged or priority Americans gotta die for it to happen, oh well.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Like, listen, we're not going to listen as Black people. I'm talking to everybody on here. We are not going to see change without sacrifice. We all need to understand.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Keita, what do you want to see come out of all of this?
I definitely want to see conviction with all 4 officers. Conviction in the future for other officers. God forbid this continues. And like you said, Peso, like, we definitely need change, but people have to make sacrifices for us to, you know, see these changes and receive these changes.
Got you. And Martel and Mercy, what do y'all want to see come out of this?
Well, I want to see something that's just so impactful that it sparks a change within the system as a whole. So something that'll ensure that police know not to take this route again, whether it's some type of retraining that has to be done throughout all police systems, just so people are trained on how to properly deal with civilians so that it doesn't escalate to this far anymore. I mean, shit, and if it takes 4 cops to get the needle, it is what it is.
I don't think it has.
And also,
not racism. You can't train a cop not to be racist.
And also,
right. And also some more.
We got to stop hiring covert Klans members. That's what we got to do too.
That's
yeah,
true.
exactly. That's a fact.
What I really want is, again, for the conviction of all 4 of the police officers, and also the conviction of the people of the officers that killed Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. Go back and let's start the reparations right there.
Exactly.
Let's start with like the current cases and work our way back.
Because those cases are still fresh.
And then with what he was saying,
we don't keep going all the way back to Abner Louima, if that's the case. Like,
okay,
we
got time. We in quarantine. We ain't going nowhere. We got time.
If that's the case, we got a long way to go back.
And then also, I want what he was saying with the uniformity of the police systems. So that if you have an issue in New York, you cannot go to Jersey and work as a police officer.
That's right. That's right.
Everyone knows, because the police chiefs, they say that they keep in contact with one another. So they should be able to call and be like, listen, I know for certain one of my old cops who has this history is coming to your city to work. These are the stories for him. You know,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's what I want. I want some kind of uniformity, and I want better accountability. The same way that you can hold us accountable for our actions, if you wear that uniform, you should be held to a higher standard because you're wearing that uniform. You are paid service. We are paying you to protect us.
Yep.
Right.
I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say this. I salute everybody that's out in them streets.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to die for the betterment of Black people, stay home because you're in the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Malcolm died for us. Martin died for us. Huey Newton died for us. Fred Hampton died for us. You understand what I'm saying? Them Black men put it all on the line for the betterment of Black people. And if you don't have that frame of mind, stay home. If you're just gonna go outside and you're just gonna run when the police come and you're just gonna fall back when the cops come, stay home, yo. You know what I mean? Because you're in the way. You know what I mean? We need them brothers and sisters out here that are willing to put their life on the line for the betterment of Black people. And it's not a lot, but the few that are, these are the ones we need on the front line. You understand what I'm saying? I'm willing to die for mine, all of mine. If you know me, I'm willing to die for every single one of mine. And that's just what I've mentally conditioned myself for. You understand what I'm saying? And if you're not one of those, salute. I'm not mad at you. You need to get out the way.
But those are also people. Those are people that also pick and choose their battles. Those are people. And so I told my brother the other day. I said, "This is how I know I'm tough. It's not the fact that I'll fight somebody. It's the fact that I'll fight anybody.
That's a fact.
I go into war not knowing if I'm going to win or lose, but I'm willing to go to war at all times. And a lot of people don't go with that same mindset into a situation. They go in because they know they're going to win. They're going to pick on someone that's smaller, someone weaker, someone that's feeble, someone they know for a fact they could win against. But I don't do that.
You know what's crazy? You don't do that. You know what's crazy? You got our Black women standing stronger than the Black men nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how many Black women that you're seeing on the front line getting arrested and getting pepper sprayed and getting beat every day.
Yeah.
We need, like, come on, man. Like, we need to. I love my queens, but that's not the queen's job. The queen's job should not be out in the streets. And I'm not trying to be sexist. What I'm saying is we need to preserve the queen because the queen creates life. So we need to preserve the queen at all costs. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's no lineage of Black men without the Black queen.
Facts.
Yep, that's true.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's not the queen's job to be out there in the streets. We need the men out there for that. You understand what I'm saying? But it's crazy that the women have more heart than the men nowadays.
That's facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we need, like, listen, this I'm for this, for real. Like, not for talk, not for social media. I'm with this for real. If niggas say, listen, we about to ride out for our people, I'm on deck. But I'm not with going outside just to chant no justice, no peace, just to run when the cops come. I'm not with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not the protesting I'm for. If niggas really ready to get busy, I'm on deck. You understand what I'm saying? But we are not going to see change for Black people without sacrifice. And if nobody's willing to sacrifice, look how many people that are not willing to sacrifice a day off for the betterment of Black people, a day off of work. Look how many people aren't even willing to get arrested just to lose their job for Black people.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's real shit. Everybody's with the cause until the police come and they're like, well, fuck that. I ain't getting locked up. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. You're right.
That's
You're
real.
right.
So that's where it changes that right there. So that's just my thoughts on that, man. Last thing before you get up out of here. Everybody on here, we're not fighting for us. We're fighting for that next generation. Some of us got kids here. Some of us want to have kids here. That's what we're fighting for right now. What do we tell that next generation of Black people that's coming after us? Let's start with Keith.
You got to tell them the same thing that we doing. You got to stand up and fight for what you believe in. And if you're going to go out there and fight, you can't be pussy about it. You just got to be with the shits and be ready for whatever.
That's what
I like that answer.
Let's go with Ari. What do you tell that next generation of Black people coming after you?
Free. At this point, we fighting for the freedom. And when that next generation is going to be free, I want you to take that freedom and run with it. Be integral people. Be.
Oh, she froze.
I think her phone just died.
Yeah, I think the government cut her shit off. She was about to get too real.
Yo, you stupid.
Word up. No, but the reason why I asked that question, because the people before us fought for us. That's what Malcolm and Martin fought for. They fought for us. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that, because we're not fighting for us. We're fighting for that next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Renee, what do you tell that next generation?
Next generation, I have a little sister. She's growing up during these times. And, I definitely tell her, to be smart. First, you always want to be smart. You don't want to just, go into situations without knowing the full story, or even like what you said before, you don't want to go into a situation and not be ready for what you're putting yourself into. Because you don't want to get someplace and then, see shit going in the direction in which you're not ready for. And then you end up, as a casualty for no reason. So I definitely, tell her to be straight, but also fight for what you believe in. Don't let nobody tell you no bullshit. Don't let them bring up the black on black bullshit, because that's exactly what it is. Them taking a narrative to try to flip the script on you. But yeah, all in all, be smart and fight for what the hell you believe in.
That's what it is. So you said you got a son. What are you telling them growing up in this world?
Well, you know what? I have a story. Real quick. I have a 6-year-old daughter. I have a lot of kids. It seems like. I only have 3, but it seems like I got a bunch of them. But my youngest daughter.
How many baby mamas you got?
I got 25 of them. 25. But I only have 3 kids.
Oh, God.
3 kids, but it seems like a lot. Believe me, I feel like I had 25 of them these days. But no bull. I had my 6-year-old with me yesterday. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter. My 6-year-old is with me. And she said that, and as we're driving downtown, as she's seeing this stuff, she said, yeah, Daddy, the only thing we want is for Black people to own everything, right? And I sat there and said, no, baby girl, that's not it. We just want equality. We want what we want our ancestors fought for. We want what the people before us fought for.
Exactly.
We just want to be looked at as equals. We want to be on an even playing field. And not the fact that I don't want to be around white people, and I don't want to own everything. I just want them to let us in and to embrace us for who we are, opposed to us having to fight and die for who we are. That's it.
That's
I mean, and I tell and I tell my son, and I tell my godson, like, there's a way to protest, and you don't have to actually be out there on the front line. You can actually sit there and just especially with my godson, because he goes to Boston College, and it's predominantly white. And I sit there and tell him, it's for you to spread the word to them, for them to have an understanding of what we're going through. and for them to have not just a
Right.
understanding, but a clear and concise understanding of what our pain is and why we're doing what we're doing and why people are out there going crazy in their eye. And it's not because
you know,
crazy.
you know what's crazy? You told me the same thing, and it really resonated with me. Like, you definitely told me, like, yo, dog, you don't got to be in Minneapolis to spread your word. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could spread it where you at amongst you and yours, and that shit really sat with me. You know what I mean? Because at that time, I really felt guilty that I wasn't out there with them. You understand what I'm saying? But you right. Each one teach one.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I mess with you, because we always have these conversations. Even if they're short, they always good. And I always get something out of every one of them.
Absolutely, man. What about you, you Mercy? What do you teach? What are you telling that next generation of men and women coming up in this world?
And Miss Mercy.
And
Miss Mercy.
Just stand on morals and principles, man. Like that for me, that trumps everything. Moral and principle. Once you have a good grasp on that, you can make the proper decisions in any situation. So always stand for what you believe in. Make sure your morals and principles are intact, and you can pretty much handle whatever.
Right.
What do you think, Martel?
Don't waste the opportunities that were given.
I can't really hear y'all.
Huh?
Oh, there you go. I can hear you now.
Okay. I said don't waste the opportunities that were given to you from generations before.
That's what it is.
Evolve. Continue to be better than what you saw your parents being. Continue to strive to be, and also remember your worth. And
Absolutely.
whenever you're put in a situation where they are saying you're not worthy, you plant yourself down and you say, no, I am. And you make them change. You don't change for them.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're still watching everything play out in the honor of George Floyd. I'm glad that this man's death didn't go in vain. I think this is probably the biggest uprising I've personally seen.
That's I was saying the same
been.
thing today. Like, this has been the biggest one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This should have opened a lot of, African Americans' eyes in general, that we honestly really need to start supporting more Black businesses, keeping our money within the Black community. The Jewish dollar circulates for at least a good full year before it leaves the Jewish community. Why can't we do that as a people?
I agree.
And it doubles and triples within that community before it leaves.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's literally any product you could think of, I can guarantee you there's a Black person that sells it or has the same thing. I literally found a Black toothpaste line. I cannot wait for my toothpaste to come. I've never been so excited to buy toothpaste in my life, okay?
Wow.
I was so excited when I found that out, okay?
No, that's for real. Like, this country only understands two things: economics and violence.
Exactly.
That's only two things America understand, and we need to understand both of those things. We need to understand that, listen, man, there is so much power in the Black dollar we don't even know, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you go into the hood, what do we see? We see Chinese food. We see a Spanish or Arab grocery store.
Them Chinese people don't even eat the food they selling you, okay?
Right.
I've never seen a Chinese person sit down and eat the shit they selling.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a little personal with it, right? I have always been inspired by Zoe and Dre's studio. They were two brothers in the hood who had a recording studio for Black rappers, because up until that point, all the rappers I know were going down to the city. They were going to Quad, they were going to Midtown West, they were going to Baseline, they were going to all of these white recording studios. You see what I'm saying? So Zoe and Dre were the first dudes in the hood, in the Bronx, who I knew had a recording studio for Black rappers, and that was inspiring to me.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
No, real shit. I'm real shit. So we need to keep that going, man. We need to understand the power of the Black dollar. Stop spending your money with your fucking oppressor.
Thank you.
Right.
For real, yo.
Everything. There's a toilet paper line. I bet you guys didn't know that there's a Black-owned toilet paper line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, can you send Pesos that information?
Oh,
Please.
I'll send you.
And I'm also
there's also a line in Target. Well, whatever's left of Target, but it was like for
Oh, the honey pot?
Yes, the honey bee or honey
pot.
Yeah, honey pot. So that's Black owned.
And I'm going to, once we put this up, I'm going to post GoFundMe links for all of the Black businesses who are trying to recover. Because like I said, we're not taking that lightly. We support all of you. If you got hit in the middle of all of this, trust me, we got you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to post GoFundMe links for every Black business that's trying to rebuild. Listen, I think all of y'all, like I said in the beginning, I have an immense amount of respect for everybody on here. And we got to stay proud and stay strong. And we got to stay diligent, you know what I mean? Because we all get it. You feel me? Like, we get it. And we got to keep making sure that if nobody else don't get it, we get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get everybody's social media before we get up out of this. So give me all your social media.
Oh my gosh, you got me doing all this crazy stuff. I don't even know my social media. What is it? I don't even know, man. You gotta catch me last. Catch me, come back to me.
You gotta think, you got so many.
Yeah, Renee, give me your social media.
Okay, so you guys can follow me. My personal Instagram is Renee Ashley 92. My cosmetic line is Everyday Girl Cosmetics. And the great thing about, let me just throw this in there, Everyday Girl, we work with nonprofit women's-based organizations, and we give back a portions of the proceeds to that organization to help with funding of their programs. Right now, we're working with Pink Lily, a women's organization based out in Brooklyn, Black-owned and organized. And hopefully, I'm looking to do a back-to-school drive if the kids are going back to school. We don't know, but you know, definitely want to do something big for the kids back-to-school time. So definitely check those two things out.
That's what's up. Quick question: Is the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, is that Black-owned?
I'm sorry.
The what?
The Minneapolis Freedom Fund. Y'all been seeing that?
I haven't seen
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I can look it up.
Yeah, look that up. I heard they're going crazy on 34th Street right now as we speak too, by the way.
Wow.
Any of y'all little niggas on 34th Street run down to Macy's to give me that
Yo, you are stupid.
All right, Keita, give them all your social media.
Everything is La Femme Lakita, LAFEMME Lakita, LAKITA. That's, you can find it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
I'm looking at the staff and board. Not a Black person on here.
All right, then yeah, fuck them. All right, Myrtle, give them all your social media.
All right, you have Myrtle Ernest Reed on Facebook. You have Haitian Boss Material on Instagram, and then for No Mercy, it's No Mercy Harlem on Instagram. Tyrell Reed on Facebook, and babe, it's No Mercy Harlem on Twitter, right? No Mercy Harlem on Twitter.
No Mercy went to go take a shit real quick. You know
no, he went to get ready for work. My husband is an essential worker.
Nice.
All right, Zoe, give me your social media.
Put some respect on his essentialness.
Yo, Zoe, give me your social media.
It just so happens that I do not have a strong social media presence. I do, but I don't. Meaning that I'm not on there like that.
All right, so give them the clothes. You got the clothing line, though. Give them the.
No. It's at Blackwork_Zoe for everything. I just had to figure that out because I don't really be paying no attention to my own social media.
But give them the print. No, you got the printing service too.
Right? Yes, we do. It's Blackwork Printing, and that's all on social media platforms as well.
That's what it is, y'all. All right.
Thank you, Peso.
So much, man. This was an incredible conversation, man. So we're hopefully, I want to revisit this in like a week, y'all. So we're gonna stay steadfast. All right, so that's we out. Truth be told, peace.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys. Nice meeting you.
All right, nice meeting you
nice
too.
Meeting you all.
All right, stay safe.
I think that's it. No. I forget how to log out of this shit. Okay, leave.
Just go to all the way to the end and it says